Hello everybody, my name is Glenn Monroe and I'm the owner of Brain Diesel. And in this video I want to show you how to do a mail merge. Now a mail merge is actually intimidating in concept but easy in practice. And what it is it's how you can take a letter and insert fields into it so this way you can create a form letter. So what I've done for this is I've written up a basic shell of a letter, and I have a list here of the cast of Sex and the City. I'm not sure why I chose that show, I just did. So I've got the cast there, and what I want to do is send a letter to each person for a career summit. So I had this letter. I want to do a mail merge, and in Word I'm going to find that on the Mailings tab. Now what I'm going to do with my Excel list is I'm going to save this somewhere. I'm going to save it to my desktop just because that's where I'm choosing to put it. So I'm going to save that to my desk. I'm going to save that to my desktop, and I'm just going to call it Merge Source. You can call it Toast and Jam, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to call it my merge source. And I'll save that and then close it. So I don't need that open anymore. That's done. Now, I find these tend to work better when closed. It's just a choice. So on the Mailings tab in Word, I've got my letter written up, and now I can basically go from left to right. But there's another feature here called the Mail Merge Wizard, and this is what I tend to do. The Mail Merge Wizard is going to go through the steps left to right, but I just find it a little bit easier. So I open the Mail Merge Wizard, and this pane opens up, and it's 6 steps to it. The first step is what am I creating? A letter, envelope, labels, what am I creating? And usually it's going to be a letter, so I've got a letter in this case, and I'm going to next continue. So I've said it's going to be a letter. Which letter? Do I want to use the current document, or start from a template, or start from an existing document? Well, when I'm doing a mail merge, I'm almost always starting with the document I have on screen. So I'm going to use the current document. So the first 2 of 6 steps are already done. Next, select the recipients. So do I want to use an existing list, or create from Outlook contacts, or type a new list? Well, if I'm doing a mail merge, I probably already have the list done. I've never done a mail merge where I said, okay, let's start a mail merge. Now, who are we going to write it to? It's usually the other order. So I'm going to use an existing list, and I'm going to browse to find that list. And I just saved it to my desktop. So let's go to my desktop, and I will find my merge source document right here. So there it is, my merge source. And I'm going to open that. Now, the Excel sheet I saved had 3 tabs on it. I'm going to tab number 1. That's the one I used. So that's what this big ugly pop-up means. I'm just going to, and you're usually on the first tab, so I'll hit OK there. So now what comes up is the list of who I want to send it to. Do I want to send this to everybody on the list? Or at this point I can say, you know, I don't want to send it to Charlotte York or Carrie Bradshaw. So I can turn them on or off here. I can sort them using the arrows. I can filter all this stuff at this point, but generally I find when I'm doing a mail merge, I've already had this all done and it's ready to go. So I don't tend to mess with a lot here, but you can using the checkboxes. If you don't do it here, you can fix it later as well. So in this case here, I'm just going to say, okay, I want all those there. So 3 steps. What am I doing? A letter. Which letter? This one. What's my source? And I just identified the source. Now it's time to write the letter. So writing the letter, here we go. I have my letter written, and now I can put in address block, greeting line, and so on. But what I tend to do is I tend to go with the more items. Now, more items is going to open up a list of all the label for my Excel sheet. So I had a first name field, and I had a last name, occupation, date, and time. So I can do it this way. At this point in my wizard, I tend to go to Insert Merge field, this option here. It's the same thing, but I find it's a little bit less clicky. I don't have to click as many times to make it work. So what do I want to say? Dear who? I want the first name, and then I want the last name. For upcoming career summit, as a successful what? Well, that's going to be insert the occupation. Our students would love to hear from your perspective, blah, 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 blah. Blank, we hope you'll be able to join us. So here I'm going to put just the first name in this case. We able to join us on, and I'm going to put the date and I'm going to put in the time. And that's basically it. I'm putting in the fields where I want them. And when I merge it, it will take that one row and pluck everything in exactly where it goes. Now, a problem that tends to happen here is punctuation, because I put in first name and I put in last name, but I didn't put a space in between. So you often need to click in between and put in that space. And then look at the other places you put things. I've got successful, then a space, then the word occupation, comma, so that one's perfect. First name, there's no space between first name and we, so I'll put a space there. And then I don't have a space between date and the word at, or the word time and the word to. So watch your spaces, watch your punctuation, because these fields will become the results of what you had there beforehand. Now I have that all done. Now I get to preview my letters, so step 5. And here's a sample. So Charlotte York, as a successful art dealer, our students love to hear from you. Charlotte, so the first name again, on that date at that time. So that's done. I can now go to another recipient, and there's Samantha Jones, and there's Carrie Bradshaw, and so on. So I can now toggle through, using the arrows here, back and forth to see them. Now, when we chose our source, we had the checkboxes to say, wait a second, I don't want to send this to Charlotte. Well, what you can also do is when you're previewing, maybe you come across a record where you only have the first name, not the last name, or you're missing some data, and so now it just looks sloppy. So if you want to exclude somebody at this point, you don't have to go back any steps. You simply click exclude this recipient. And if I exclude that recipient, now she's off the list. If I change my mind, I can probably undo. And yes, I can. But besides the undo, I can go back to edit my recipient list and then turn them back on. And here we go. So there's all kinds of ways. You can turn off the checkboxes first, exclude them here, and go back and edit. Now that that's all fine, I want to complete the merge. So my next step is complete the merge. This is where it gets confusing. It's not hard, it's just poor word choice. Because what I'm looking for is a button that says complete the merge, and it's simply not there. They don't give you that as an option. They give you edit individual letters. And what edit individual letters does for you is completes the merge. So this is an odd choice on behalf of, that the programmers made. But once I hit this, right now at the bottom corner, I'm on page 1 of 1 4 times. When I hit edit individual letters, do I want to do all of them or just certain ones? Well, I want to do all, so I hit OK. And now I have a new document open here, and you will see that it's page 1 of 4. So as I open this up, and then I go to my next pages, you can see that the other letters are all there ready to print. So once I hit the merge and hit the edit individual letters, the merge is complete. I can simply print and then do my envelope stuffing if that's the way my business is operating. So that's it. There are 4 simple steps. Let me close that down there. Don't save. Okay. So there are actually 6 simple steps to the wizard. Do I want to do a letter or envelope or what? So I choose a letter. Which one? The one I have on screen usually, because often I would have that letter open first. Then I choose my source, and I showed you the checkbox thing with that. Now I want to put the fields in. That's the hardest part. Honestly, it's the hardest part. Let me go back to before I have them all in here. So now I've got the first name, last name thing happening. So that's fine. I can preview the results at any point. Let's say I didn't put those spaces in. I'll take one out of here between the first and last name. There we go. So I took the space out. When I preview my results, I can now see that smushed together. So in between, I put a space, then I turn off the preview, and the space is still there. So you can edit either before or after, it doesn't matter. But that I find with my college students going through my program, that's where the mistakes happen. It happens with where the spaces are or where the punctuation is, and otherwise everything's fine. So that's a mail merge. Hopefully you find that easy enough to do, and I encourage you to give it a try if you think that's going to save you some steps. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. My name is Glenn Monroe. Bye now.